What's up, and welcome to episode 275 of First Geek 411. This week, we got big changes to Commander, the PlayStation State of Play, Nosferatu is getting a remake, and The Legend of Vox Machina Season 3 is right around the corner. All this and more here on First Geek for the Week. I'm your host, Cameron Franklin. With me, as always, from West Coast, Best Coast, is Emma. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. A little sleepy, but otherwise a good week.
Yeah. That is like the struggle of Monday recordings.
Yeah.
Like, it is like the most tiring day of getting back into the week and then doing this also. It definitely can get to you. And so
Yep. Yep, yep,
if
yep.
if you want to connect with us, you can find us all around social media as OneGeek411. Join our Discord server. Shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. Watch live on Twitch and YouTube Monday nights around 6:45 Mountain Time. Actually, 6:45 Mountain Time this week. We're
Yeah.
almost always early. We had a
Yep.
technical issue right as we were
Yep.
about to hit go. Fixed it, hopefully. And so here we
Hopefully.
are. Yeah. And of course, you can find all the VODs over on YouTube as well, where you can like, comment, subscribe, help us with that algorithm. We appreciate you. And then, last thing, of course, our Redbubble store if you want any of that merch. Emma, what have you been up to this week?
A couple of things. I started watching Agatha all along. And it's great. I love
Let's
it.
go.
It's all my kind of spooky. It's great. Lots of fun. Um, yeah. It's the only thing I'll say, because spoiler free right now, is I love that it's continuing on the vibe of WandaVision, just in general, which is great. And I love teen.
Yeah, Teen
Just
is great.
teen.
Classic Teen.
Which is great. Classic teen. I started watching an anime at a friend's request called Insomniacs After School, which is this really cute little anime of these two, kids who become friends because they're both insomniacs and can't sleep. And so it's just all about them, like, relating to each other and interacting with the world over this shared struggle. And it's a lot of fun. I don't normally watch anime, but a friend of mine recommended this to me, and I started it, and it's super cute and a lot of fun. On Saturday, did some more hobbying, hobbied all the hobbies, and played some more D&D. This campaign is super sad because one of our players is moving to Seattle for work, and so it was their last session with us. And so it kind of plays well into her character, though, because her character is this guy named Todrick who literally got transported into the world from New York. He's like a New York trust fund baby, and he got transported into this fantasy world and was convinced the entire time it was like Westworld, a Westworld type thing. So like his ending as a character was getting transported back to New York. So there's still like space for whenever the player is back in town to, like, if she wants to play with us on a random day, she can. Which is great, but it still means that like she's not playing with us regularly, which sucks. Because we all love Todd as a character, because he's literally just this guy, this trust fund kid from New York who's just teaching our entire band of people like what a radio is, and Zed now wants to essentially invent the electric guitar and things like this. So, yeah, it's gonna be sad, and we're all gonna miss Todd and the other Emma, as I call her, because the player's name is Emma. But it's exciting for her because she's off to a job that she's really excited for and everything. So yeah,
What class is Todd?
a fighter.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a whole fun, like, I think what she did for his background was like he played rugby in college. Like that's how he got into college, was he was a really good rugby player or something. And yeah, so it was great. And yeah, we're gonna miss Todrick very much. Um, May he rest alive and well.
Yeah.
And his friend who got transported to the land of the Karth with him is still around. We just have to find him. So there are still remnants of Todrick around. Um, but yeah, we're all excited for her to get a job and everything, and yeah. Um, and then the other thing that I did this weekend is I've been playing catch up on listening to Epic the Musical, which is essentially a concept album that's been coming out for a musical version of the Odyssey. And it's great and fabulous, and it's been really popular on TikTok as of late. Um, but it's great music, and it's just this whole concept album for a potential musical version of the Odyssey. And it's fabulous, and I've decided that next year I'm gonna reread the Odyssey for the first time since I was in 6th grade, so plenty of years ago by this point. So next year I'm gonna read the Odyssey.
Yeah, when I saw that in the notes, my first thought was, have you read it before? Like, are
Yes.
you sure this is a good idea?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have indeed read it before.
Yeah, like in college, we had to read it. It was basically like our summer reading going into my first semester. And
Yeah.
I had only done like the very briefest abridged versions before.
Yeah.
And then like going in and reading.
It's a hefty kiddo.
Yeah, it's a big one. There's a reason there's abridged was like my version that came out of this was like shout out to all you editors. Like Princess Bride style of like,
yep.
There's a reason that you cut out like entire chapters of
a
this.
whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. We had a whole section in like 6th grade where we read an abridged version of it. And I was like, I might as well like have that be my book of the year for next year is to read the Odyssey through the entire year, because why not? Like,
yeah, like the full
it
version
just seems
is
like
something that I. Go ahead.
It just seems like a fun thing to do, to say that I've done it plus to have read it.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I feel like it's the type of experience I recommend everyone do once, and then I feel like you're good for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that I have read the full Odyssey, and I intend to never pick up the book again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's also part of why I want to read it, is because again, I also feel like it's one of those things where everyone should read it at least once, the full version that's not abridged. And I'm like, well, like I finished grad school. That was my last big goal. So I might as well set myself a new goal. And apparently the new goal is going to be to read the Odyssey. So yeah. Well, that's been my week.
Nice. For me, hobbied those hobbies, not as like diverse this week as I guess other weeks have been recently, but like TV, keeping up on the shows, Rings of Power, Agatha All Along. Like super excited that you are liking that show and that we're going to get to have some awesome chats about it once we can get into spoilers. Also played D&D this weekend. It is like we're wrapping up our campaign, and so trying to like get everything tied up, both like wider narrative as well as character stuff, has kind of led to some of the like weirdness with this story that I'm really excited to go and do a post-mortem with my players on afterwards. Because there's a handful of things that like, because we're basically cutting the campaign in half, there's a handful of things that we are like not supposed to know, but they need to know for the ending to work and stuff like that. And so trying to get all of that figured out and all of that going. And then we kind of have like trying to get like, what are these major plot points just to make everything feel meaningful as we get to this final bit. And so they went off track this week, but it's giving me a great way to tie something in that I was not sure how I was going to make work. And so we're going to tie it in with them going off track. And so, which is super exciting. And so rewarding that exploration with different plot beats is definitely the way to do it. So, other than that, this weekend, I have a little show and tell. I have bottled some new mead in my fresh, 18-ounce bottles, which I'm really excited, or 8-ounce bottles, as a great way that I have to much more easily share with people.
Yeah.
And so, super excited to be able to give those out as gifts once we get closer to Thanksgiving, Christmassy time. They should be ready by then. And so, and then we have one more batch that we're still working on, and so that'll also be ready around that time, and so, or close enough to that time. And then I, over on Cameron Plus Deanna, got the platinum in Astrobot on Thursday, so we did it. The final level is 47 deaths before I made it through.
Wild.
But we did it. We got through. And they're
you
even
did
broadly, broadly speaking, I would not say it was a hard level. There were just very specific points that I struggled on. And then I had some silly deaths. I definitely had a death probably around death 25 or something, where I just missed the first jump and fell to my death. And it was we haven't died there yet, but here we are. And so I'm
here
super
we
excited.
are.
Super excited for Astrobot and kind of what's there for the future of that game, which will kind of segue into our next topic, or our first topic. But before we do that, of course, chat, comment section, let us know what you've been up to. Hit us up, let us know. You can also do that over in the Discord. And so, last week we talked about the imminent PlayStation State of Play. That was the day after we podcasted. I was able to do a live reacts over on Cameron Plus Deanna to these announcements. It was about 30 minutes. And so we're going to kind of run, in our normal fashion, run through the announcements. This is from the PlayStation blog. Emma, as we go, feel free to jump in with any of the ones in specific that you want to talk about.
I don't think Horizon, I need to say much. Yeah.
And so we'll kind of go through all of those and then kind of just do a kind of a wrap at the end with it as well. And so we tying in with Astrobot, we got the announcement of DLC for Astro coming later this year. So that's super excited. We're getting, I believe it's 5 speedrun levels, as well as some new special bots to rescue. We saw bots based on Helldivers as well as Stellar Blade in the trailer. And so I'm very excited to have another excuse to return to the game. And so come in, knock some stuff out. One of the big differences of Astrobot versus Astro's Playroom was it felt like Astro's Playroom, because it was so many fewer levels, they just timed you on all of them, and every level could be a speedrun level.
Yeah.
And you actually had times and could compete. And so many people had the game that you were always getting updates on if someone beat your time and stuff like that. And then with this one, they didn't have that as a feature. And so I'm kind of excited that they're bringing this in. Astro was such a mechanically interesting game that I'm very excited to see what they're going to bring in with these levels. Our surprise one more thing at the end of the trailer, as well as what we have up on the screen for this, was the announcement of Ghost of Yotai coming from Sucker Punch. This is the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima.
Go Erika Ishii.
Yeah, hyped for Erika that she's the protagonist for this. And it takes place, I believe, 300 years after Ghost of Tsushima, so it's not going to be a direct sequel in that sense, but it is something that's going to exist in that world and mythology, and so I'm very excited for what this is going to be. I have not played Ghost of Tsushima. Have you played it?
I've played some of it, and it's very fun. I haven't finished it because other more, I don't want to say more important, but other games I was more excited for came out. so I
Mhm.
have to like circle back to it. But it's a lot of fun. It is one of those games that if you like lapse out of it, it's the controls, the way the controls are
Mhm.
set up, like it takes some getting used to. So if you lapse out of it, the time it takes to get back into it is a bit longer because you have to remind yourself of all of how everything works and functions and everything. But it's a lot of fun and it's super pretty and great time. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's been on my list to play basically since it came out. It came out right around The Last of Us Part 2, which is
yeah,
why I didn't play it when it came out. And but I've only heard good things. I'm really excited to play it, and we had reached like the amount of time since it was released that I was basically like, I'm gonna just play it when we get a sequel coming,
yeah,
and so that way I can be excited. I did a similar thing with like God of War 2018, where
yeah,
like I didn't play that until like 2020, 2021, something like that. And so that was kind of my excuse of like, we're getting much more of this. I need to actually go and play this game. And so I'm excited to jump in and see what it is about. Um, in the world of news stories designed for Emma, we did get two pieces of Horizon,
shocker.
yeah, Horizon news. One is the announcement of Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster launching on October
Yes.
31st, bringing Horizon um, to the PS5 officially, and then this is also releasing on the PC. It is going to be a $10 upgrade if you already have the game, and it's going to feature over 10 hours of re recorded conversations, mocap, and countless graphical improvements that bring the game to the same visual fidelity as the critically acclaimed sequel, Horizon Forbidden West. And so,
And baby Aloy is so much cuter. We love how much cuter baby Aloy is.
yeah, this is exciting.
We love everything about it, and I'm so hyped.
Yeah, I really like this. I say this. I did not buy the last one. I just never got there for The Last of Us Part Two when they did this. But I like the idea that if you already own the game, it's only $10 upgrade.
Yeah,
Like, of course, like free would be nice, but like at the same time, I really appreciate that like they're not trying to just say, "Hey, sucks to everyone who has already bought this game." It is
yeah,
now like you now have to buy this more expensive version, and
yeah.
so um, and I
To
do
the
think that
surprise of
that's
no one,
yeah.
I will be starting a new gameplay when this
Yeah,
comes out.
yeah.
I
By the
say that
time
to
this
the
comes
surprise
out,
of no one
Emma
because
will
I
have
literally have art of Aloy up on my wall right behind me because
yeah,
I love her so much.
yeah. I have my Aloy over there on the or my it's her bow, but I have that over on the other side. I'm very excited that we're getting more Horizon Zero Dawn like this and bringing the first game that I mean looked great for what it was. I'm
Yeah,
excited that they're bringing that up into the Forbidden West engine, and
yeah,
so um, and then some other um, news. We also got a release date for Lego Horizon, which is
yes.
also like kind of a remake. It's like a Lego retelling of the first game,
Yeah.
also. And so, with that releasing on November 14th.
Also, something I will be playing right as it comes out to the surprise of no one.
Yeah.
So excited for all of it.
Yeah. This is super fun. I love the idea of whenever franchises don't take themselves too seriously. And this is kind
Yeah,
of like the prime example of that. Of like, hey, we want to do
yeah.
something fun and silly for like a Horizon thing. Let's make it Lego.
Lego.
And so it's also cool that this is coming to Nintendo Switch,
Yeah.
just as a get the game in front of more people.
Yep.
I would suspect that these were things that were put in motion because of the Netflix series that had been worked on and is now like indefinite on hold,
Yeah.
because the lead is not doing good things, and so
No.
not lead, the director or so like writer,
Yeah.
not like the lead actor or anything
Yeah.
like that. But this is super fun. It's super cute, and
Yeah.
as I feel like I say every time we talk about this, I really hope that we get more and more Horizon Legos. Like,
Yeah.
it feels like we have to at this point if they're gonna do something like this. And so
It
I'm
is so required, and I just love everything about Horizon in general. But the fact that there's gonna be a Lego game makes it even better. Like, I could talk about it all day with how much I love it. That's perfect and amazing.
I'm really curious for this. How if they're gonna like capture some of like the iconic moments, like are they gonna like recreate like the intro scene where like Aloy gets aged up, and
Oh,
like
I
are they gonna like do
sure
that
hope
as a
so.
like because I want to see baby Lego Aloy. Like
Yes, you and me
I think that
both.
would be super fun, and like if they were to like kind of try to one recreate some of the cinematics, I think would be super cool. And then yeah, I'm very curious also to how this is gonna like. Is this gonna play like Lego Star Wars and stuff like that? Is this gonna kind of have its own style of play, taking
I
advantage of the
hope it
bow and stuff
does.
like
I
that?
hope it plays a lot like the other Lego games, because that is a lot of like the general attraction to
Mm-hmm.
a Lego game is, if anything is a Lego game, it falls under the general game style of, like, Lego has established a game style for
Mm-hmm.
Lego video games. So I hope it does to some extent combine the Lego game style and the Horizon gameplay. Like, take those two different types of gameplay and merge them.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't do the entirety of Lego gameplay, because it's fun to run around and smash things and
Yeah.
collect your whatever the single Lego, the dots,
Oh,
the one peg.
they're not bits. Studs. There we
Studs.
go.
It's fun to run around and smash things and collect studs and, have a mix of level and semi-open worlds things.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
In the world of hardware, we saw another quick look at the PlayStation 5 Pro, where we saw a look at some more games that are enhanced for PlayStation 5 Pro. I'm sure they looked great if you were not watching the compressed YouTube video. That's kind of
Yeah.
all I have to say there. Like, I'm sure if you can
Yeah.
watch these in 4K, those trailers did indeed look better. We also got some new controllers as well as covers for the PlayStation 5 as part of the Chroma collection, which
10 out of 10.
I am
Very pretty.
hyped about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Love.
probably going to get the Chroma Indigo. I've been, as people have heard me say, I have the drift really bad on one of my controllers. And
Yeah.
I need to get a new one. I did not get the PlayStation 30th anniversary one. And so I bought some Pathfinder stuff instead. Take that. And then, but yeah, I think I'm probably going to try to get the Chroma Indigo just because that looks super cool. We got some announcements of the October games for PlayStation Plus being WWE 2024 or 2K24, Dead Space, and then Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. Those are indeed a list of games that are coming out. Like, that's such a wonky collection of titles. Like,
Man, I have not thought about Doki Doki Literature Club in a while. That is a whack game if you haven't played it.
Yeah, I might replay it just for the platinum. And
yeah.
Just kind of, like, if the platinum is not, like, insane, I might do that and just try to
That is certainly, like, a unique game.
Yeah. Then, in some of our other announcements, we saw Alan Wake 2, The Lake House, as the second expansion coming to Alan Wake 2. I really thought this was going to be Control 2 because it opened like talking about the Federal Bureau of Control. And I was like, let's go. Like, I'm pretty sure it was Jesse's voice. Like, I was so hyped. And then I need to play Alan Wake 2, but like, I was so excited for that. We also saw Arcade Chronicles, a new trailer, and some Dragon Combat for Dragon Age, the Veil Guard. Hype for that. That was way too long as part of the State of Play. Dynasty Warriors Origins, Fantasian Neo Dimension, which is like a super interesting looking JRPG.
Yeah.
And then there's a game called Fear the Spotlight, which I believe is one of the Bloomhouse.
Yeah.
There's
Hyped for this one.
Yeah. Very like not up my alley, but I'm happy for you.
As you should be.
We saw a game called Hell Is Us. We saw our first gameplay for it. I'm pretty sure it had been previously revealed. It looks like Death Stranding meets a Souls-like. It's kind of like the vibe.
Interesting.
And so I'm interested to see what that's going to be like. We saw Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered, as well as the Lunar Remastered Collection. Both sets of games that I have never played, but good for them. Monster Hunter Wilds got a trailer, and then we saw a game called The Midnight Walk, and then
this one I'm excited for.
Yeah,
because it's like clay. It's almost a stop motion.
Yeah, I feel like it's a game that I will respect as art more than I will want to play as a game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's giving me personally similar vibes to Stray in terms of like being an independent studio type thing that's just a very contained story. Plus, it looks pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then there's a handful of other announcements, but the other thing I really want to call out is we got the announcement and shadow drop of Palworld coming to the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And so I have not bought this yet, but I am so hyped.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to dive back in and play more Palworld and see what this is all about. I played a lot at release and then fell off. And so I'm pretty excited to get back to it and kind of just see how the game has changed since release. So that's, we'll see when I get to buying that, because Dragon Age does come out in less than a month. But those were our major announcements from the PlayStation State of Play. Let us know, what are you excited about or not excited about from these announcements, or of the things that I skipped. What are you excited for? And so, in chat, Nate says, "Can't wait to hop back in and fall back off of Palworld."
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah, I was surprised that this did not tie in with like a 1.0 announcement. Like, since the game is still technically in early access, I'm surprised that this was not the like 1.0 is also releasing on PlayStation. But let's see. Let's go over to our next topic and kind of a hard, sad pivot. And so, announced today, the Commander Rules Committee announced that they are stepping down as the managers of the Commander format and are handing control of the format over to WotC officially. This is coming off the back of the waves of harassment, death threats, and doxing threats that have come towards members of the Rules Committee after the latest ban announcement, where Jeweled Lotus, Nadu, Mana Crypt, and what's the goblin? I can't remember the goblin's name. Dockside Extortionist. There we go.
Can we just stop threatening people, please?
Yeah. And I don't necessarily want to spend too much time on this topic, just because it makes me really sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, the big thing that I want to call out here is like, be a better fan. Like,
yeah.
If you like,
be better, period.
Yeah, like, if you care about something enough to where like your pieces of cardboard losing value has caused you to like issue threats, like, be a better person. Go to counseling.
Yeah.
Like, just feel like,
yeah.
It's okay to be upset. Like, and it's
okay to be upset and have opinions about things.
Like, if you're
the important thing is how you voice and handle that, you know?
Yeah. And so they're seemingly, this is something that was not in the works prior to that ban announcement, but we know kind of as a response. One of the people on the rules committee posted um, last week. I reached out to Wizards of the Coast for help, and we collectively began work of transitioning all management responsibilities for the format. I'll be providing them my roadmap, contacts, and documentation to ensure the transition is smooth. It's extremely important to me that the format's new leadership remains faithful to Sheldon's vision of a vibrant global community with a strong focus on the people who play it. Commander has thrived under the volunteer leadership of the rules committee for like 20 years, and like seeing like the hate that they got from this basically causing them to feel like they had no choice but to put up their hands and give up is super sad.
Yeah.
And while like it is super weird that Wizards of the Coast did not manage the biggest format that they have, it also is probably not a good thing that the company in charge of making you want to sell cards is now also in charge of defining what the fun format is. And so,
Yeah.
and as a somewhat forced example, I posted this over in Checkpoint as well. Like this would be like the equivalent of if Critical Role gave up and just handed Critical Role over to Wizards of the Coast. Like,
yeah, just we don't want this.
Yeah, it's like that's a little forced. Like there's some like logical fallacies in that example, but like that's the basic idea of it's like this is something that people created as fans of this thing, and then, well, whereas Critical Role is literally the job for these people.
Yeah.
Like the rules committee was a volunteer position that many of those people have put years, if not decades, into. And so seeing it all come crumbling because people can't be a good fan is super upsetting. I do want to direct people over to Jim LePage's comment. He's the one that I quoted earlier. He kind of has a bigger breakdown on what's going on, and then there's also some an official statement from the Commander Rules Committee Twitter as well. With that, Emma, before I get too sad, let's hop over to your topics for the week.
I have some things. First things first, as a movie nerd, as someone who has literally made movies their career, we are getting a remake of a silent film. This remake is not itself a silent film. I will say that. Although I would have been kind of hyped if it was. That would be cool. And I would be so in for it, but it's not. But we are getting a remake of Nosferatu, which is a spooky vampire Dracula thing from 1922, and it is great. And I'm just excited that we're getting classics brought to the attention of the public today, like 100 years later. The original is easily accessible on YouTube. It is an hour and a half, and it's just a fun, spooky, Count Dracula. It's inspired by Count Dracula, but it's its own story. If you have spent any amount of time on the internet, you have seen at least one GIF or photo from the original silent movie of the vampire. He's kind of stupid looking, but also spooky in a good way. But we're
Also makes an
getting a
appearance
remake.
in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes, which is great. So if you have spent any amount of time on the internet, you've heard of this movie or seen references to it, even if you don't know it. And we are getting a remake, and we just got a trailer for it. And it's featuring people like Willem Dafoe, which is, not shocking at all. This is the kind of thing that's right up his alley. So it's very cool and very fun, and I hope it is as good as the trailer makes it out to be, because I love a good silent film, which should not be a surprise to anyone. As a movie person, again, I had a whole class on silent films and things. And basically the whole development of film from the time it started to now and things. I could go on a rant about it, but I'm not going to. I'm in the right career.
Yep.
But I just find this very exciting because there are some really great silent films out there that don't get enough love, you know, now 100 years later. Um, and this is one of them that's getting sort of attention shifted back onto it. And it's exciting because there's a lot of stuff from silent films that are still used today, just in terms of comedy and like, visual comedy and physical acting and things, and it's great. And so, yeah, just wanted to bring that thing up because it's cool. I put
So
in the show notes a link to a watchable thing of the original on YouTube, for people to watch, because I always encourage people to watch the originals and the classics and things.
yeah, I was gonna
So
say let's get
yeah,
that over in Discord too. That way we
yeah,
can
yeah. I'm gonna put it over in
we can
Discord
put it over
once
there.
I'm done
I'm super
done
interested
talking.
in watching this.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
So like
think I've seen this,
the
so
the
I'm
silent
excited to check it
film
out.
Cameron, you can definitely
Yeah,
handle.
yeah,
They're probably making this remake a lot more spooky to fit with the current society that exists. But the silent film's going to be pretty fun and pretty silly, because things have, changed in the past 100 years. Um, so yeah, I think that's something that's really cool and is a thing of existence. Um,
I will say the
yeah,
biggest miss here is also not doing the new one in black and white. Like
I
I
know
feel like
that
doing the
is a
remake in color is a mistake.
yeah. um, my guess is the director really wanted to do it in black and white, and then the studio nixed that, because some of these scenes are lit kind of like they had the intention of black and white. Um, but I mean, it would be great for it to be in black and white. But I'm just excited in general, for this, because spooky movie and, um, bringing back some love for something that hasn't been talked about in 100 years. Um, so yeah, and then the other thing, this is another friendly reminder. I had a friendly reminder last week for the new Zelda game. I have a friendly reminder this week for season 3 of Legend of Vox Machina that's coming out on the 3rd, which is Friday, Thursday,
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah. So, the 3rd season of Vox Machina comes out on Thursday. Um, I say the 3rd season to clarify, the 3rd season of the animated show,
Yep.
um, coming out, and it's things are there are dragons taking over the continent, and it is a problem, and we need to deal with it. So it's
Yeah,
very exciting.
I'm
That
super
is happy
excited for this.
news. Yeah, yeah, that is happy news to counterbalance the sad news of what you just talked about, Magic the
Commander stuff.
Gathering, Commander stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. This
so
is
we get that.
yeah. Again, shout out to Critical Role.
Yeah,
Like they had like the fantasy empire that they've built. Like they've
yeah,
done so well, and like this, the fact that they can like have their core content, then also have like a side project that is like a super successful TV show is so cool for them. I know we have
I'm
like
sorry, did you
more with
mean Wizards of the Coast's biggest threat?
yeah.
Literally.
Let's go Daggerheart for season 4. I'm
Yeah.
ready, and and so I'm so excited for them to be getting this. I know we have Mighty Nine announced as well
Yep.
as getting a season, and so I'm very excited that we've reached the point where like I'm starting to not remember a lot of the major plot beats from, like, I feel like a
Yeah,
lot of season 1 and season 2 were the stuff that I remembered. And so
yeah,
now we're getting into the other stuff that's like a little bit more hazy for me, which I'm excited about because it means
yeah,
that I kind of get to like, oh yeah, that.
yeah.
And
You
so,
get to be pleasantly surprised and reminded of
yeah.
things. So,
So
oh,
it
it's
should be
very
super fun.
exciting, and I can't wait to play more Where's Matthew Mercer in this season, because that's a thing with every season, or the first two seasons has been to find the Matthew Mercer in this scene. He's either the coat checker or some random halfling or something. Um and it's a lot of fun. Um so I am excited. I have been very far behind on Critical Role for a couple of months now, and I am excited to get something that is in easily consumable chunks of like
Yeah.
30 minutes rather than, oh boy, this episode is 4 hours long and I have to go to work in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I miss my Critical Role content, but I've been too busy to actually consume it. So I'm excited for season 3, and I will probably be blabbing about it
Mm-hmm.
in 7 days time.
Yeah.
So
We'll definitely be doing check ins with this as a show that we'll both be watching. The third, I believe, is also the finale of Rings of Power for this season.
ooh,
And so getting a double release on that day is super exciting. And so in chat, Sneaky says he fell off Critical Role season 3 in the 90s and hasn't gone back. That was me with season 2. Like I really liked the Mighty 9 and I just fell off in like mid
yeah,
40s, and then I've been saying I need to get back into the abridged videos cuz I'm the person that has been asking for those for
yep.
10 years or whatever, and they're finally doing it, and I need to go like watch the content that I have asked for, but I just have not gotten there yet. Um, the link that you put in chat for that story, it's an article from Radio Times, and they have they're like one of their opening statements is adapted from the beloved Dungeons and Dragons web series Critical Role. I feel like calling it a web series is just like, you're not wrong, but
You're
like,
also mildly outdated with that
yeah,
use of the term.
yeah, like it feels like you're very like underselling what Critical Role is.
Yeah.
Like,
The powerhouse that is this thing.
um, and so yeah, I just thought that was a funny like way of like tying it in, of just like, again, entirely correct, but like that feels a little reductive to just
Yeah.
say. Um, and so, but that's our major news for this week. We're going to hang out over in post show chat once we get through our announcements. I hopefully this coming week, over on the 7th, we will be doing our book club on A Secret History of Dungeons and Dragons by Ben Riggs. We did have to delay it out of September, but we're hoping that we'll be able to get to it next week. And then we also still have a potential guest coming to chat TTRPGs with us. And so hopefully we'll have a good time this month for that as well, as we kind of get into all of these different topics. And then, as reminders from the tops of the show, you can find us as One Geek 411 around the internet. You can join our Discord server, shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. Check out that Redbubble store, watch live with us on Twitch and YouTube, and then find the VODs over on YouTube. And then you can also find us on our personal social media. Mine is Hemar Whittill.
Mine is I am not prepared with an I in the prepared.
And it's been a great week.
Drink some water.
Be a good fan.
Yeah, be a good person, please.